Karen Reed trial day 18, and what another circus. I mean, my God. Here's what happened in court today. First on the stand, we have Nicholas Bradford, DNA expert. Bradford testifies that he found very strong support that DNA on the taillight was likely a match for John O'Keefe and two other unknown individuals. He said he was also tasked with testing for DNA of Yuri Buchanan or Trooper Proctor, and neither were a match. So Alan Jackson begins by asking him to clarify how likely it was that Proctor's DNA should be excluded as a possible match. So Bradford testifies that it was 76,000 times more likely that the DNA was that of three unknown individuals compared to the likelihood that the DNA was that of Proctor and two other unknown individuals. This does not mean Proctor is fully excluded, Bradford says, but it gives a statistical breakdown. Alan Jackson then asked him, was he ever asked to test or compare the DNA of Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, Kevin Albert, or former Chief Kenneth Berkowitz? And he says no. We then have DNA expert Carl Miyasako on the stand. He's explaining the difference between mitochondrial DNA compared to nuclear DNA. He testifies that his lab analysis found a potential DNA match to John O'Keefe from the hair that they examined. At one point, him and Alan Jackson kind of go back and forth because Miyasako testifies that mitochondrial DNA matches are based on maternal line, and Alan Jackson's like, so basically that hair doesn't necessarily mean it could have been John O'Keefe's, could have been the nephew. And he doesn't want to answer the question, and they're kind of dancing around in circles. And of course, Bias Bev jumps in and she's like, can we move along? Instead of telling this guy to just answer the question. We then have this guy, Shannon Burgess, who specializes in digital forensics from vehicles and cell phones. He's going over the different modules in the vehicle and how they work together and collect data. And he's testifying that he believes that there is data from the vehicle that was missed in the initial downloads, and that he's not the one that did the initial download. And then they get ready for cross-examination. And Alessi brings up how Burgess has no bachelor's degree, yet his LinkedIn says he does. And somehow the link has been disabled within the last 72 hours. He's like, it states a BS in mathematics and business administration, and you don't have a bachelor's of science in mathematics and business administration, do you? And he's like, no, I do not. Then Alessi wanted to ask him about this report. They were trying to pull that up on the screen. Bias Bev let the jury go home early, and thank God, because this man needs to go home.